Hi, it's John here from GPS Training and Shepherd's Walks, and today we've got a special interview with Ian Nixon, who is the team leader of Northumberland National Park Mountain Rescue Team. Is that the correct title, is it?
That's right, John.
Very good. So we're just going to do a series of videos, just hopefully informing us more about the Mountain Rescue Team and how we can be better prepared, both in the winter but also in the summer months. So first of all, the first question we're going to ask is, what should we do in an emergency in the hills? How should we contact you guys for help, or how should we contact that? And what should we do in those emergencies, especially if we've got a casualty or something that's gone wrong on our walk, cycle ride, or anything really in the hills? So what should we be doing here?
Well, in the unlikely event that somebody has an accident or you become lost out in the hills, the standard procedure would be to ring the police, so dial 999, ask for the police, and then specifically request mountain rescue.
And what would we do if we didn't have a mobile phone signal? So we're assuming we've got a mobile phone signal. I'm out with a friend, they've had an accident, they've damaged their ankle, they're unable to walk. Actually, let's say there's three of us. There's myself and two friends. One has had an accident, and we're not going to have a mobile phone signal. What should we be doing in that situation?
Well, if there's three of you there, it makes it slightly easier than it would be if there was just two of you, or even just, unfortunately, one of you there. But in essence, there's another option that you could try in terms of, rather than ringing the police, you could try the text messaging service to contact the emergency services, but you have to pre-register that. So if you haven't registered for it before you go out on the hills, you've got a problem. But if you've registered for it, you could try sending a text message, because that might get through.
Okay.
Failing that, somebody's going to have to either go up or go down.
Okay.
So go up to try and get height, to try and get a mobile signal, to then make the call. But obviously before you go, you need to take all the relevant information. Or if you go down, same thing applies. You've got to take the relevant information, get down into the valley where maybe you might be able to find a house that's got a phone, or alternatively, you might find somewhere that's got mobile service, and then go through the same procedure.
The relevant information being location?
Yeah, so in simple terms, it's what, so what's happened, when did it happen, and where are you? So the what bit, well, has somebody injured themselves? What happened in terms of their injury, in terms of did they fall over? Is it a lower leg injury? Whatever it might be, those relevant details that give us an indication of how bad the situation is. The when is critically important, so has it just happened? Did it happen half an hour ago? Because as time goes on, then other risks starts to appear. So if you sat still for half an hour, you're going to start getting cold. Therefore, we've got to think about hypothermia, for instance. And critically, it's the where. Now, ideally, we'd want a grid reference. That could come off a GPS, it could come off a phone app, or alternatively, and we'd always encourage people to carry a paper map with them, it could come off for a paper map.
What three words? Has to throw what three words in. What's your thoughts on what three words? Because again, many people have that downloaded onto their mobile phone. Good, bad? At
the end of the day, it's location information. So the police, when you speak to one of the police call handlers, invariably will ask you, doesn't matter whether you're on the hills or not, they'll ask you for a what three words location.
Right.
The first thing that we will do is convert that what three words into a grid reference, because what three words doesn't work on a OS map or on a Harvey's map. You need a grid reference. So we'll always convert it. What I would say though is anything is better than nothing. And actually, even on what three words, there's an option on the app for it to reveal a grid reference as well.
Right, okay.
Alongside a grid reference or what three words location, providing a description of where you are, what can you see? Where did you actually come from? So we were walking up towards the Cheviot from the Hartup Valley. That's all really useful information, and that can confirm to us whether the grid reference is right or not.
Fantastic. So, leaving the casualty, what preparation should we be doing before we leave that casualty who's damaged their ankle?
Well, the critical thing is you've got to look after yourselves first and foremost. And hopefully people have gone out into the hills well prepared to avoid them getting cold and things. You've got additional layers, etc. So ideally, leave somebody with the casualty if you've got enough people in your group. Obviously, make sure the casualty is safe and secure. Make sure you're safe and secure. Ensure you're well wrapped up and you're not going to get cold. And just stabilise the situation before you go away. One good thing to have with you though, and even on a fine summer's day, if there's a bit of a breeze and things, keeping the environmental elements off, like the wind, which can make you cold, really good thing to have is a group shelter. And that just creates a bit of a tent around the casualty, around anybody else that's with them, and it'll help save the day.
And often when you're protecting against the sun or the cold, isn't it? You know, people kind of, as we're going into summer now, people go, oh, well, everything's great. I don't need to carry anything with me. But often if you've got a casualty and it's a warm day with wind, the person can soon get dehydrated.
Exactly. Or if it's a really hot day, just keeping the sun off them, providing a bit of shelter in that regard, it's a good thing to have with you.
Fantastic. So we're managing the casualty. It's quite a hard one, this really, but up or down, you know, I suppose you're only going to know that by you've kept an eye on a mobile phone signal as you've been walking, and you kind of hope to have a bit of understanding if there is a mobile phone signal. Because there's nothing worse than you climb to the top of a hill and find you've not got one. We're actually down below, there is one.
Exactly, and I think that's going to be very dependent on where you are and where you've been. And did you note whether you had a mobile signal further up the hill? I mean, obviously, from a mountain rescue point of view, we've got a pretty good idea about where we get mobile signal from and where we don't. People who regularly walk in the hills might have the same. The other thing is worth mentioning that increasingly mobile phones, such as Apple mobile phones, for example, have satellite communications now. So you could make an emergency call using that functionality.
Fantastic. So, casualty is secure. We've been to get help. 999, police, mountain rescue, what, where, and how are the information that you'd be looking for then. And I suppose depending on where you are in the country, this could be a wait now for 10 minutes to 10 hours, couldn't it really?
It could be. I mean, it'd take a scenario that we had this week on Monday, where we've got a group who are benighted on the top of Cheviot, the highest hill in Northumberland. It is going to take us a while to get there. So we've got to travel from wherever we are, from home, from work. We've got to go to a base to pick up a vehicle. We've then got to drive to an RVP. And then from there, it's unlikely we're going to be able to walk up onto the hills.
Yes.
So we're going to have to, it's unlikely that we're going to have to walk up onto the hills. Unlikely that we're going to be able to drive up onto the hills. So therefore we'll need to walk. So it could be anything from an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours. And obviously people need to keep warm for that time.
And the person that is on the hilltop who's phoned for help, would you advise that person then to go back to the casualty, or would it be on a case-by-case basis, or would you get that person to stay there for communication just in case you need to rendezvous with them again? Or
ideally, we'd like to have communication, but probably in that scenario, after the first communication with the person who's made the 999 call, we may well then advise them to go back to the casualty, because obviously ultimately if they've left the casualty alone, it's better to have somebody with them than not. Once we're sure of the location information, then we should be able to find them in that.
The key thing to take away is we now know how to call mountain rescue. We know what information we should be giving them. I think the other key thing we've taken away from the conversation is be prepared. So actually kit for whatever the weather, summer or winter, water, warm clothes, hats, gloves, and we're going to go all through this a little bit later on, preparing, protecting yourself from the sun in summer, because actually if you have got a casualty, because again, if you're the guy on the mountaintop that's been kept there for communication, actually you're going to get very cold as you stand there and wait for help as well.
Exactly, and we've had incidents where people have started off in the valley, sunny day, shorts and t-shirt, think, oh, this is great, we'll be up and down in a few hours. Lo and behold, they get to the top of the hill, conditions close in, cloud comes in, it's windy, it's cold, and all of a sudden they're ill prepared for the conditions. So yes, be prepared is the key message. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That really gives a good understanding of what we should do. Now, before we finish, Mountain Rescue, volunteer organisation, which is all, you survive for volunteer donations wherever you are in the country. How can watchers or viewers of this video donate to Mountain Rescue? Northumberland National Park Mountain Rescue, I'm sure will be very welcome, but other mountain rescues around the country, is there a national website we can go to or something?
Well, there's a national website, so our national body is Mountain Rescue England and Wales, so if you Google them, you'll come across it straight away. They'll have a donate button on their webpage, just as we do. So for our team, Northumberland National Park Mountain Rescue Team, the website has a donate page, all sorts of different ways you can donate, just giving, etc.
And also, as somebody's done this in the past, if watchers or viewers are doing a charity event or running a race or something, again, just to look at the Mountain Rescue, you have staff or volunteers who help coordinate and work with these people to set up the Just Giving page and this kind of thing, and raise money. So again, if you walk in a particular area or do activities, try and support your local mountain rescue team, because actually you may need them. It's an insurance policy, isn't it, just in case?
It is. I mean, hopefully it'll never happen, and most people don't expect to go out and have an accident or get lost in the hills, but we're there if people do need us. But we rely on members of the public to donate to cover the costs. And obviously if they want to do challenge events like the Great North Run through to the Montane Spine Race, that's fantastic, because obviously it makes our lives easier because we don't have to raise the funds ourselves, but it's the willing supporters who do that for us, and that helps us to then provide the emergency service.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. So thank you very much for joining me on this video. There's going to be some other videos in the series, so please do click on the links below and let us we discuss other subjects going forward.